Tariffs are taxes that is placed on a product by a government before that product could come into that country. For example, let's say the United States. If you buy a product from overseas and it comes to American port, the importer or the person or company that has bought that product has to pay that tax on top of paying for the item itself before they can receive it. And normally that happens within 10 days of the item coming to an American port. For an example, if a company that specializes in purchasing foreign wines buy a bottle of wine for it to come to the United States, and say that bottle of wine costs $100, and the tariffs for France or Europe is 25%. That means that importer or the person in the United States that purchased that wine has to pay an additional tax of $25 or 25% of the total cost of the product before it could come to the United States. So what that means is the importer, which is a business, has to add the cost of the tax until the final price of that product. So what happens is that bottle of wine, once it gets to the consumer, which is you and me, the product or the bottle of wine will probably cost at least $125. So the company or the importer can make a profit from buying it for $100 and then paying $25 or 25% of the total price. And that's in essence how tariffs work. Now, tariffs are applied to pretty much all products, and all countries uses tariffs. So there's nothing wrong with that. One of the things that tariffs do is it kind of let's talk about the United States. It kind of makes American buyers possibly buy American products. Say if a wine company in California that makes wine from grapes that are grown in California, they could sell their wines at a cheaper cost, say for $80, because they're not getting their wine from overseas. And of course, they are not paying a tariff because their product is made within the boundaries of the United States. Now, in April of 2025, this is about 4 months after President Trump assumed office, he mandated that all imports, meaning any product that comes from a foreign country into the United States, no matter what it is, no matter from what country, they were to receive double-digit tariffs. So what that means is that if you buy something overseas, where normally the tariff might have been 8%, we was talking anywhere from 25 to 75% to 80% based on the country. Now, one of the reasons why the Trump administration did this, they used what is called the International Emergencies Power Act to elevate or increase the amount of tariffs for foreign countries. Normally, this Emergency Powers Act is used when we are at war with another country or some other emergency or extreme situation. So this went on for about almost a year, where Trump negotiated with, or the Trump administration negotiated with other foreign countries to have a fixed tariff. Now, of course, a lot of these countries were upset. These are countries that we've been allied with since World War II. Then all of a sudden, they were receiving harsh tariffs from the United States. So in retaliation, these countries mandated harsh tariff from American products that were going into their country. And this seesaw went back and forth for almost a year until February of 2026, when the Supreme Court stepped in. Now, the Supreme Court, which is very conservative, which for many subjects lean to favor President Trump, because many of the Supreme Court justices were nominated and approved under the Trump administration. But the Supreme Court, with the majority of conservatives, stated that the president did not have the power to levy taxes, because under the Constitution, only the Congress under the 16th Amendment has the power to levy taxes. So what happened was that the money that the Trump administration received from tariffs, in effect, became illegal. And anytime you obtain something illegally, generally, you have to return it. If somebody breaks into your house, steals something, and the police find the person, find the items, after the courts do what the courts do and everything is processed, generally those items will be returned back to the person it was stolen from. All in all, the money raised from the tariffs equal to about $166 billion. That's billion with a B. So the Supreme Court stated that the Trump administration did not have the authority to collect those taxes, but they really didn't state how the money was to be returned. Now, the Customs Authority had to take on that burden. So they created a website for importers to receive refunds for the tariffs that were collected, and that information is in the description box below, and it'll be displayed on the screen. Now, the U.S. government is sitting on $166 billion that has to be returned. Now, remind you what I said in the beginning. If you buy something overseas with tariffs, you're not only paying for the price of the item itself, but companies or importers that purchase those items has to pay that tax back, have to pay the tax for it to come into the country and thus go to the consumer or you and me. Now, the website states that importers can receive refunds. And in the United States, we have large corporations such as Walmart, Costco, Apple, and large corporations down to small mom and pop businesses. So they are the importers. So they can seek refunds for the tariffs that they had to pay for to get their items into the United States, which was in fact illegal. The problem is you and me are not importers. So we received no refund. Yes, we had to pay for the item to come into the United States, and the only way for a company to make a profit because they're running a business. You got to understand that. So Democrats, we believe in capitalism as well. But we do not get compensated. The company that paid the tax, we didn't pay a tax. We paid for the company to adjust the price to compensate them for paying the tax. But we didn't pay the tax. We paid what it took for them to bring that product into the United States. Now, one thing that Democrats and Republicans agree alike in 2026 is that affordability is a key issue for both demographics. Cost of purchasing a home is high. The cost of rent, particularly for young people, is high. Healthcare, medical benefits. Ultimately, the burden of these tariffs fell on the American people. I remember reading when the tariffs first started to begin. I remember there was an article or conversation about Jeff Bezos, who's the founder of Amazon, the world's largest retailer, arguably. He understood that because Amazon is known for people to buy products at the lowest prices possible. That's how he became a billionaire. He even had an idea of putting let's call a clock or some information on the website showing, hey, we bought the item for this amount, but due to the tariff, it'll show the amount that they had to pay for you to receive those items, because even Amazon understood that prices will have to increase for them to be able to make a profit. The Trump administration heard about that. Obviously, a conversation was had, and Amazon decided not to display that information on their website. Because if Amazon did display that information on their website, then people could see that the tariffs were burdened on the American people. Where every dollar counts, where every dollar matters, the tariffs were a bad policy at the end of the day, even to the point of the Supreme Court stepping in and saying, no, Mr. President, you can't do that. The power to levy taxes for the public good rests with Congress, and Congress alone, per the 16th Amendment. That's the reason why voting matters. Holding elected officials accountable matters, whether it's local, state, or federal office. Thank you very much for being here. Please like, subscribe, share. It does take a little time to research these videos because I want to make sure I'm putting up accurate and complete information. I'm putting out facts. I'm not putting out my opinions. I'm putting out simply facts, and you, as the viewer, make the ultimate decision. So thank you very much. Please like, share, subscribe. Click on the subscribe button because you know what? That is free. Tariffs cost us, but clicking on like or share or subscribing is still free. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. I want to show off two items that sits behind me. The first one is for this past Father's Day. My wife, Lachelle, she got me this cool ammo box, an actual ammo box that she had refurbished somewhere. I spent 20 years in the Army, 7 years active duty, and 13 in the Alabama Army National Guard. And I was quartermaster. My main MOS was quartermaster or supply. It was 92 Yankee at that time. Not sure what it is now. So for people that have been in the military, you have those memories of going to the range, whether it was during the heat or in the cold, and having an ammo box and have to police or pick up brass because you had to pick up a certain amount of brass to get turned back in. So I thought that was very cool. And the second thing is my wife let me use her cowboy hat. We recently just came back from a trip to New Mexico where my niece Mariah graduated college in nursing. So it was good to see my brother, his wife, Jeff and Patty, and to visit her family, which lives in New Mexico. The United States is the greatest country on the planet Earth. And the reason why, because we are a nation of immigrants. We are a nation where we can expect the best of our government, and we can be a part of our government in order to form a more perfect union. We're not perfect. We have our issues, but the whole goal of the United States is to be fairly represented and for the government to be represented by the people and to be empowered by the people. Thank you. See you next time.